Hey guys. Okay, hey, I'm Tarek. I'm a foodie who likes to travel, and I spent about the last 12 months in Latin America, traveling from Mexico all the way down to Patagonia in Argentina, and then across to Rio, and now I'm back in Mexico. I did a video about a year ago when I started the trip. I was in New York and released that on YouTube. You can go take a look if you want. And since then I haven't posted anything. I've been umming and ahhing whether to make another photo, but I have been collecting footage all along the way, and I finally decided I'm gonna go for it. So this is my first video. This is Nightlife in Cancun. I went literally straight from New York to Cancun last year in the middle of spring break, and it was awesome. It was wild. It was a great way to start the trip. And I had a lot of fun and I learned a lot. So I'm going to be giving you some recommendations on places to go, some of which you'll heard of and some of which you definitely won't have. And then I'm going to finish off with my 5 top tips of other tips on how to make sure you have a good time when you're in Cancun. If you've done any research about Cancun at all, you probably would have already heard of Coco Bongo, Mandala, and the City. These are the 3 big super clubs in town. Coco Bongo is the first one I'll go through. I describe it as being more like Vegas. In fact, I think the whole of Cancun is more like a Vegas experience on the sea than going to a normal beach town. Coco Bongo though really stands out. You're not going to miss it when you're walking down the strip. The huge lights, there's people outside dressed in cosplay, so you'll definitely be able to find it. Tickets online start at around $90 US if you pre-book. This will include free drinks, but the drinks are not premium. Sounds great, but you're gonna struggle to get drinks. You'll struggle to get to the bar. It's definitely worth it if you can afford to get bottle service or to get a table. It's gonna cost you extra, but you're gonna get a lot more drinks. You're gonna struggle to get drinks, even though they are free. If you're queuing in the bar, you're gonna spend most of your night queuing. The bars are busy, so you're just not gonna get served much. Mandala is the second one I'll mention. It's about $60 to get in, includes about $50 worth of drinks. It's more of a classic club experience, but with an Indian-inspired theme. This place is a little bit smaller than Coco Bongo, but also definitely a super club. Really great, really popular place on the strip. Finally, the third of the big 3 is the City. It's the same price as Mandala because it's owned by the same people. It's a bigger experience, a bit more like Coco Bongo. You've got acrobatics, pyrotechnics. It's about 5,000 capacity, so this club is huge. Really great night out as well. But the same advice goes, if you can afford it, get a table, get bottle service, you're gonna have a much better night. Each of Coco Bongo and Mandala, they also offer beach parties. These can be a little bit seasonal, so they'll have a lot more going on when you're there for, say, spring break when I was there. These are much better value for me, and it's a much more unique experience. Everyone loves day drinking. You're gonna be out all afternoon, it lasts a few hours. This is something that's pretty unique, and I would recommend that over going to the super clubs, but it's up to you depending on what you're into. I just think that this is the experience for if you're coming from Europe or from America or from most places. This is something you might not be able to get back home. Another recommendation for a big night out is the Coon Crawl. This is a really good idea. It's a bar crawl, covers multiple bars and clubs, normally including 1 or 2 of the super clubs I've already mentioned. This is a great idea for anyone that's traveling on their own, especially female travelers, because of the added security. You've got a tour guide with you to look after you who's going to be sober or semi-sober, probably semi-sober, but it's still useful having someone with you that you can trust, that knows the language, and that knows their way around and can just help everyone out. You're also going to make friends as you travel between the bars, so you can stay with the same group of people throughout the night. Really good recommendation for a big night out. So you've booked your super club or the Cancun crawl, but you want to try some other clubs. Maybe you've just got your first night in, you weren't sure if you were going to party, but now you really are because the atmosphere just draws you in. I would recommend just going down the strip, seeing what you like the look of. Most clubs are going to charge quite a bit for entry, maybe $30 US, but they will include drinks. They'll be charging for men. They might not charge for girls or be a much lower fee. Now, like I said earlier, drinks will be included, but the queues for the bar are going to be huge, so you're not going to be drinking as much as you would, or you're going to spend your entire night queuing. But don't let that put you off. I went to Congo Bar, which is like a prime example of this, and we had an excellent night. One of my favorite nights in the city, had a little group of friends together. We all went out together, went to this bar and had a great time. We'd take it in turns getting drinks, so we didn't spend so long in the queue. That was a pretty good idea. Another place worth knowing is Botanera Nacional. This is much more authentic. This is one for the locals. The beers start at around 20 pesos for a bottle of beer, which is a lot cheaper. And the food, they have some food there like tapas, little small dishes. Don't expect anything too big, you're not getting a full meal. But it's a great way to try a little bit of cheap local food, have a few cheap drinks, and meet some locals as well. It's more of a bar, definitely not a club, but they can have dancing later on, especially at the weekend. Finally, Senor Fox. This place is often mistaken for a tourist trap, and it can be, but just check the prices on everything you order. I had a really great few nights here. Just watch out. The shot girls walking around with the shots can charge up to $10 sometimes, and the large cocktails can be about $15. But if you check the prices in the menu, you can get pretty good drinks, good cocktails, etc. Just make sure you know what you're ordering. My recommendation is to come early for dinner. You're going to get a pretty decent meal, and entertainment is a great way to start the night. If you come before 8 or 9 in the evening, you're going to get free entry, and then later on when they bring the DJ out, it starts to get more lively. Everywhere else is going to be charging $30 to get in, and you'll be already there, probably with a table, and while the DJ is getting ready to start playing out some great bangers. It's really good entertainment. It's a really lively crowd there. Don't blame me if you end up staying all night. Finally, my 5 top tips for Cancun. Number 1, if you're going to a super club, try to get table service or bottle service. You won't regret it if you can afford it. If you're trying to budget at $100 or less for a night, honestly, just take that money somewhere else. You're gonna have a much better night and really enjoy yourself. I wouldn't say these places are worth doing on a budget. But if you can budget for it just for one night, or for maybe for your whole experience, if you've got the money for it, then you're gonna have an amazing, unforgettable night at these places if you can get a table or bottle service, so you've got the drinks flowing, and just gonna get much better service. If you're looking for a slightly cheaper option, my second tip is, especially during spring break or in high season, the beach clubs. These are run by the same people that run the super clubs. Much cheaper, much more unique experience, as I said earlier. Number 3, take US dollars if you're coming from America, or if you're not, avoid the ATMs on the main strip. I've heard of a lot of scams with these trying to rip you off, so be very careful. Most places are just going to take US dollars, so if you're coming from the States, then it's pretty good. Number 4, watch out for the police. This one is a security one. A lot of people say, oh, watch out for the cartel, they're worried about that. But actually, generally speaking, in Mexico, the cartels, particularly in the touristy areas, are not gonna bother you. They're too busy selling substances to tourists and making a lot of money off it. The police, on the other hand, are severely underpaid, and I've heard way too many stories of people being taken advantage by the police. I had it a couple of times where they would search me. They didn't find anything on me. I'm not the sort to be carrying anything at night, but if you've had a few drinks or in a bit of a state, especially if you're on your own, then they can really easily take advantage of tourists. It's something to watch out for. I've met many young guys who maybe were caught with some drugs, or I met a guy that was peeing in the street, urinating in the street, and got fined about $200 for that. And when he went to an ATM to get the $200, paid that over to a policeman. He was later told that was the wrong policeman, and he had to get out another $200 to pay it to another policeman. So you've got to watch out for these sort of scams. Be very wary of the police. Stay in areas with other people around and street lights. You're going to be absolutely fine. Don't let it put you off going. It's just something to be wary of. Finally, tip number 5. It sounds a bit corny, but just have fun. I don't mean to be corny by this. What I mean really is, if you're going to be booking in other tours, things like scuba diving or visiting the ruins, I'd suggest just go away for a few nights. There's no need to be in Cancun for that. While you're in Cancun, you just want to be sitting by the pool all day, recovering from the night before, and then going out and doing the same damage again. It's a place to party. It's a place to have fun. There's so many other places around that if you want to go scuba diving, go to Cozumel. If you want to go to a nice beach island, it's on Jerez or Holbox, you can see Chichen Itza, but spend the night in Valladolid, and then you're going to experience the town around it as well. I wouldn't really recommend doing all of those things as day trips, because it's just not worth it really. There's so much else to see around, but while you're in Cancun, you want to be partying, you want to be staying in the hotel. So what do you think? Did I miss anywhere? Did I forget any of your favourites? If you've got any other recommendations, put them in the comments. I spent about 5 months in Mexico so far, and I'll be here for a while longer. So like and subscribe, look out for more videos. I've got plenty more recommendations for some other great areas. Thanks for watching.